43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7.
6.
5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto. All right. It's time for the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on life. But yes, we still do politics. And I'm coming to you live from my new house in Florida. I was going to have the backdrop of the beautiful lake behind us here and the lights coming over across that. But I didn't want you to be mad at me because, today it was a little cold here today. I think it was only 63 for the high. So people were walking around with their mittens on and stuff. But this good old Hardy Hoosier here was out in my shorts and all that stuff. It wasn't that bad. But yes, it's we have the internet set up. It looks like it's a little bit better than at the other place, but it's not great. And yes, I am working on my eyebrows because I'm going to be like a little owl. It'd be like, Hoosiers owl. That's what I'm going to be. So anyway, don't make fun of my eyebrows because they're going to get worse because I won't be getting back till about March 9th back to Indy. So hold down the fort. Hopefully you're not freezing and all that. But tonight, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant because this is something I've been working on for about 10 years with the city of Indy. And I didn't really realize how screwed up Indy is or how bad it sucks till I got down here to Sanford where they run stuff the right way. Now they do have, this is going to be about homelessness and building permits. So they do have a pretty rigorous building permit department down here. In fact, I have a friend that's a building inspector here in Seminole County, and they have a lot of procedures and all that. But the difference is that these folks down here, they have people wanting to move in. 800,000 people moved to Florida last year, and me and Lisa are 2 more for this year. So it's different. If you have that, you can get like that. But Indy has an exodus of people. And they have a homeless problem, and it's affordable housing. So you're trying to think, well, what's that got to do with building permits? Well, let's just get this thing started. So about 5-6 years ago, I tried to, to fix the building services department on how they'd issue permits. I had a 12-page PowerPoint. It was going to lower costs. It was going to make efficiency. It was going to take the burden off of the city to have all these inspectors. We were going to put inspections into the fire department where safety is our number one, purpose of these building permits, that and to collect property taxes off of you when you improve your house. Because, if you build your house better, you must be punished by paying higher property taxes. All of it is just a big scam. It adds no value to your property because these people do not know what they're doing. I've dealt with them till I'm blue in the face. They've fined me. They've violated me. They've done all this stuff. And these people don't know what they're talking about. So this is what finally the straw that broke the camel's back. Let's get going here. So, the permitting process is already high. It costs takes a lot of time. It's all this. So I'm going to put up some banners here. So they're doing such a good job at BNS. They're going to raise all the fees. They're going to raise the fee to build a house, a residential house, 142%. Now, how do you think that's going to do for the people in Marion County? Do you think that's going to help? Do you think that's going to help them want to come out and build this? Oh, well, let's say, well, what? But that's not too bad. But how about this one? Multifamily construction, $1,700 to $4,800. Oh, that's going to really make somebody come out there. And if you think that this is going to be taken on by the developers and the guys that make the profit, well, here you go. Impact on higher construction costs for developers and homeowners. The increased fees are expected to be passed on to homeowners and renters. So have a nice day. Here's another one. They're going to raise the structural fees from $286 to $850, while from plan review used to be $90. Now it'll be $200. So their excuse is, well, we haven't raised the fees since 1988. It's to cover the costs and services and bringing rates in the county and the neighborhood and all, blah, blah, blah. It's awful. Glad I'm out. I'm glad I'm out of there. I can't take it anymore. And this is one of there's a person that they've hired for this. And this is Abby Brands. She's been the director for 3 years. And let's go through her experience list. Let's just go through it real quick. So in 2017 to 2020, she was the communication administrator for the city of Indianapolis and Marion County. Oh, and then she went to 2020 to 2023, city of Indianapolis, the deputy director policy planning. And then she's been the director of the business neighborhood and services, which would be code services, for 3 years. Now, I'm not a very smart man, but you tell me did you hear anything about her building experience in there? Do you hear anything about anything other than I work for the government? I'm here to help you. So this is the stuff that needs to get fixed. And that's why I'm having Jesse on tonight. We're going to ask him these questions because I know that we don't see eye to eye. The Democrat social no, Jesse, I can't get there from here. I've lived through the Berlin Wall coming down, all that stuff, and the socialism, communism, all. Maybe it works for you, doesn't work for me. But I'm speculating that we're on the same page about this government intervention. And then we also have Vinny in. Vinny's back. And this time he's not going to be on the hot seat too much. He's a panelist. And he lives in Indianapolis. And we'll see what he has to say. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on all the players here. So we have Vinny in. Let's bring Vinny on first. Hello, Vinny. How's it going?
Hello. How we doing?
Good. Thanks for
having me.
Tonight. So I know the Chiefs usually are a Republican person, and I know are you independent? What would you consider yourself? Are you Democrat, independent? What, just like citizen?
I consider myself a leftist.
Okay.
I consider myself a leftist or a socialist. Probably most closely aligns with my political beliefs.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's bring on
a big
another.
Mom Donnie guy.
Okay, well, it's coming to Indy. So here you go. Let's bring on another lefty for you because this is going to be we're going to be like overwhelmed with left tonight. It's going to be Lucy against the world here. So
we're going to lose too. Like, I'm not going to challenge Lucy.
Oh, hey,
that's madness. What that is.
Yeah. So and I appreciate y'all missing the State of the Union. I'm sure that you could just be like Andre Carson and not show up to it.
No, I always watch. I started watching news in the morning now. Just kind of, I don't want to
get anything.
Inundate myself, I guess.
All right.
Did you refer to Indiana? Oh, any of the State of the Unions? They're nail biters.
It seemed dry.
2 hours.
Gotta say, it seemed dry.
Yeah. Wait,
I'll wait
John,
to see the highlights.
Did you refer to Indiana as the other place earlier? Like, we're just in the rear view mirror over here.
I'm telling you what, Indianapolis sucks so bad, and I didn't know that till I went to a place to compare it to.
Well, so when you talked about the government and they charge more when you tell them about the upgrades. Can't you just not tell them about the upgrades?
Oh, I didn't put
How does that go
in there.
over?
So before, if they caught you without a permit, it would be a $250 fine. Oh, now it's like it's $1,000. It's like $1,000 or more. And the problem is, if you touch anything on yourself, I'll give you a real quick one before we bring Jesse on here. When we bought the art center, it sat there 2 years, 3 years with drug dealers in it, disrepair. I buy it. A week later, they come out and they put 10 violations on me. I start working on the violations, and they come red tag me because I didn't have a permit. So, and then I found out that a lot, I'm
Is
just
this
saying,
is this because of the tariffs or because of Biden? It's got to be
no,
one
this
or
is
the other.
because of the screwed
Right.
up Indianapolis. This is nothing to do with federal. This is Indianapolis only. And then I found out that that's what they do to a lot of people. And that's how they steal their house. Because when you don't pay, they put a lien on your house. And then when you don't pay the lien, then they come back and you can't get the repairs done in time. Then they sell your house. I had a lot of people come to me with problems after this. And that's why I decided to do a reform on it. And it was a very good reform. And I made it through a lot of the process with the city, but then all those people quit and nothing happened.
What
So,
art center did you buy?
Oh, well, we have the Mars Hill Art Center in Mars Hill. So
Mars Hill,
I bought it
right,
11 years ago, bought it. It was all run down, fixed it all up. It's all that good. Okay. So hey, we got a guest. Let's bring on the guest. And then I'm going to bring Lucy in to just roast you.
Yeah,
all.
we're just chopped liver bread.
Yeah, you're chopping.
I know. Yeah,
Jesse Brown, I hope you can hold your own. I got a lot of reinforcements here to go against Lucy.
Yeah, I'll just consult the guidebook if I ever need to argue with you a little bit. I wanted to make sure Lucy had something to make fun of me for. So
No, you don't have to give her any ammunition. It'll be
I don't
good.
even know if I have anything good up here.
Jesse, I appreciate you coming on, and I we'll get to some comments because I want to see what you think about what I just posted, because I think you're going to agree with it on that part of thing, because it really hurts affordable housing. It really does. And why would you want to remodel a house if you're just going to get crucified in fees and taxes? In our example, I put $400,000 or $500,000 in Mars Hill. You'd think I would at least get an attaboy. No, I got fined. I got it just was awful. So anyway, that's enough of that. Let's bring on basically the star of the show. I know you're the guest, but here's the star of the show. Let's bring Lucy on. And Lucy, I give you the big buildup. Hey, wait, you can't get up there. You took my look. Lucy comes in and takes my spot. Now I can't get moved. So let's see, maybe there. Yes, that's good. All right. That's good.
Well,
enough.
I have, Jesse, if you don't know, I have 10 children. So it's difficult for anybody to hold on with a conversation with me, because I'm used to having 7, 8, 9 different personalities at a time coming at me.
Sure.
I'm an alligator wrangler. I should be down there with John.
Yes.
Florida would love me.
So hold on. I know it's not time for a conspiracy, but I'm going to put my hat on real quick for the conspiracy. So you know why people tell you in Florida to watch out for the alligators. That's one thing that you don't want to come down here, the alligator. You know what? That's just a ploy. Alligators are scared to death of you. They want you not to move here. I'm actually on a website or on a Facebook group of Stop Moving to Florida. So, of course, I put in there every day, I can't wait till the snowbirds leave.
You're trying to act like a local.
Oh, yeah, just trying to blend in and all that. But anyway, it is, like I said, until you see something else. Now, to give you a perspective of where I am compared to Indianapolis. So Orlando is like Indianapolis, and Sanford is like Noblesville. 60,000. I mean, it's the same geographical northeast, 60,000 people, small little town. Everybody is so chill here. Now, Jesse, I haven't seen any protests yet or anything like that down there. They're just chill, and people are fairly nice, and it's just a different vibe, and it's warm. Other than that, it sucks, but no, it's good. So let me get your opinion. I assume you heard my rant about this BNS thing, and I guess one question I want to have for you before you get started on that is, who votes? I think that the director of business neighborhood is appointed by the mayor. But now, do you guys get to vote on any changes like this increase? This increase is outrageous. Do you get a vote on that, or does it just happen?
We did, and I'll fess up, I did vote for it, despite some misgivings. So it did go in front of the council. I mean, it was going to pass.
Well, it's been a great show. No, I'm just teasing you, but
Give the socialists the boot, man.
You did say that, but now how?
Hey, John.
Use your powers.
I'm going to pause everybody right here. Taxation is theft, and Jesse is a robber.
Mhm.
So
Here we go.
I'm not
So,
even.
in
I'm not.
words.
I'm not pretending like I'm not laughing. Like
Those-
you
those-
literally
those
voted
Governor
to steal
Braun.
from people. People go to work every day, and you literally voted to take their labor away from them, and that is despicable.
Well, but the
I
people at
appreciate
BNS
I
are
mean,
getting
so
paid
does
more.
literally every Republican in the Indiana
Oh,
Senate.
I
mean,
agree. I agree. They should. They should. I
I
agree.
mean, it seems
They
like
all
you don't
do.
have a problem with socialism. You just have a problem with, obviously, like you as you
Taxes.
call it,
I have a
statism.
problem
But
with theft.
Yeah.
I have a problem with
yeah,
theft.
with Republicans, Democrats, socialists.
I mean, I think
Absolutely.
that in a perfect system, which I agree is like 100 steps from where we are, right? The fees associated with this would be in line with libertarian ideals, though, right? Because it would be if there's negative externalities you're passing off to your neighbors, you pay for that right, and then they have some sort of mitigation for, like you do the electrical wrong, you burn your house down, which then costs a bunch of people money for the fire department or their lives. If it, like there's reasonable, I think, do no harm and stick to yourself reasons for fees as opposed to taxes, right? But I think to John's point, the incentives aren't aligned correctly, right? So it seems like, and I've heard from more than just John and from people across the political spectrum, people who feel that they're being targeted or that it's not applied fairly, who gets inspected and who doesn't, who gets fees and who don't. And so, yeah, that's a very real concern. I think that like when you you said the blah, 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 like their talking point is the fees haven't gone up since 1988. Name anything that's the same price as it was in 1988. That sort of makes sense. But it always makes me think about when I went around knocking doors, I was a first-time politician when I ran for office. And so I was taught to believe something that Lucy, I'm sure, still does believe, which is you say the word tax to constituents and you just lost the election, right? Nobody wants to pay more in taxes, no matter what. That's like what I believed. So I went around, knocking doors and like looking at our streets. And I had this long spiel that was like, nobody wants to pay more in taxes, but my wife and I share a car. We've lost 7 tires and 3 rims on Indianapolis Street. So when you add up the lost labor from sitting in the tire shop or, all of that, I would have much rather just paid a little bit more in taxes to actually have roads I can drive on. I never even finished that spiel because people are like, hold up. I will pay more in taxes if I see where it's going and I can trust that there's no grift involved. And that's what I found to be true. So I think that if BNS was consistently, providing services where you're wanting to build a house and I'm going to pay this new $250 instead of $100 or something, but I know in 72 hours I'm going to walk away with my permit or with, the name and number of somebody who can talk me through fixing whatever I'm missing. I think people would be a lot more willing to pay that, and even maybe more than that.
Explain to me this idea of a permit. Why should I have to ask permission from somebody to do something?
Well,
on your own
for
property.
example, like there's people in my neighborhood who have a bunch of extensions on their houses with no permits, and I've never snitched and I never will. But one such person, a couple houses down, their second story addition that they added with no permit and didn't know what they were doing collapsed and crushed and hurt a kid. And then that kid had to go to the emergency room, and then we all pay taxes to pay those fees. And so I think it's a reasonable thing to say. Maybe we should have just like helped.
So Jesse, I've been a real estate investor for over 20 years, and I can assure you that there were many permitted houses, especially by Arbor Homes back in the early 2000s, that had lots of permits and they were not safer. So the permit is not the thing that made it safer.
Correct.
I mean, houses collapsed under snow load. You can go look that up between 2003, 4, 5. John might even remember that.
Yeah, the mold.
Yeah, so
mold in Davis homes and some other homes, and they just.
I know. I mean, they didn't even add weeping holes.
Yeah. See, and you're not a contractor. See, my biggest problem is when you hire an Abby Brand who's a paper pusher. It's good to raise the fees because we have to, and what my thing was, Jesse, is I wanted to move these inspections to the firehouse. You have firemen, and I even talked to firemen. I talked to the fire chief. They have time off. Pay them $25 to go out and inspect this. They know all the safety stuff. Yeah. That's all this is about. But they take 9 weeks to train these people. This is what happens. 9 weeks to train them, spend all this money training them, and then they go to Hendricks County because they can make $4 more an hour. And, and it's a revolving door. You don't get the same person. It's inconsistent. It's a failed system that no one will say, hey, it's failed. Let's redo it. How about we redo it?
I am kind of interested in what John was saying at the top before he kicked you in that funny joke. But like about how this part of the government is staffed, right? Like head of the committee or the council. I've actually sat in, I don't know if this is the same one, but like the business planning, metropolitan planning department, I've like sat in on some of their virtual meetings just to see like, how the sauce gets made. So I'm just kind of interested in like, is the head a mayor appointee? How is the board elected? Or like, how is that organization done? Because it's a blank spot for me.
Yeah. So without kind of sabotaging my own ability to get stuff done, so I'm not going to just totally burn every political bridge I have. So
Let me do that for you.
Not commenting on Director Brands as a person, but I will comment on Joe Hogsett and the way he runs his administration as a general rule, which is political loyalty is number 1, 2, and 3 most important things for any hire. Even when you can look at like how many deputy mayors we have in the city right now, and it's 1, I believe. There's so many vacancies because, I mean, you're not going to convince me that in the broader Indianapolis metro area, there aren't qualified people to run these jobs. But are there qualified people who will do everything Joe Hogsett says the second he says to do it? And that's the real question.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think Jeff Bennett was one of the last ones that I had any respect for, and he was pushing a rope. So you're correct, and we've met with some of them with in Mars Hill with things. Oh, and they promise all this, and then we're going to go back, and then nothing ever happens. So, but the mayor is over 11 departments. The airport authority, the health department, there's a BNS, all these, and man, that guy, I don't think he manages any of it. He just puts somebody in there and says, well, I hope they do okay, and then sends them down the road. I don't have any. I'm sure that Abby's a fine person, but is she the person for business neighborhoods for the permits? No, we need somebody that's actually got building experience that can come out and look at a project. I've had inspectors come out on commercial jobs and not know what we're doing at all. Yeah. Have to ask, what is EIFS? Okay. That's the type of stuff. I'm like your constituents. I don't mind paying taxes if I'm getting a benefit for it, but there is zero benefit in this permitting system. And to your Vinny, to your question about the planning and zoning, that's a separate situation. We do not want to mess with that. We don't want somebody coming in and building a 5-story apartment beside your house. There is city planning where we have certain corridors that have things in it. That needs to stay where it is. But the permitting process, we have, when you think about it, especially on the larger projects, we have engineers, we have bankers, we have attorneys, we have everybody involved. They are going to make sure that this project does not have a problem. A bank's not going to loan on a project that's going to suck. Engineers, architects, all these people, they are not. They are way smarter than any person that's going to come out and inspect your house or this project. So they're really just taking money out of the process, and it's raising our costs. It delays the projects. What I had streamlined was an excellent plan. It was a very good blueprint on how it could get done. I did make it through at the time, Brian Madison, and then we went with Glass. So Joe Glass, he was a systems guy, and I was making progress with them. And they said, we want to have this fixed by Labor Day. This was 4 years ago. Next thing you know, Brian Madison's out, Joe Glass is gone, and all that time wasted. So
were all these mayor appointees, I guess, even in the DNS, yes, like in these systems, is it mayor appointee at the head of all of these departments?
And Joe Glass got frustrated because he couldn't do anything. He didn't have anybody backing him up. He had some good sense to him, and he didn't last. So it comes from the top. And Jesse, I applaud you for going against your party, because trust me, I tell people there's only one party that hates me worse than the Democrats, and that's the Republicans. And I could probably say that you're probably in that same boat. Sure. Yeah, well, but we need to be able to have these discussions, or nothing's going to change. And my situations, I'm just getting old. I'm 65. I'm ready to get out of the fight. I've done what I can. I think we improved Mars Hill. We're going to stick around there, and we're going to find somebody else. But I'm basically donating $500,000 to Mars Hill. That nonprofit's going to stay there. I'm not, we're going to have an exit plan with somebody that's going to take it over. I always used to say it was like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'm going to find I'm going to find my Charlie and take it over. But we had some kind words from people that said, hey, you saved this person's life by, by the fact that they came to one of the Taekwondo classes and it really helped them. They were suicidal at the time and it helped them get through that. It's those stories you don't hear till, it's like nobody appreciates you until you're gone type of things. But that's, that's what it is. And we still have our house up there. We're going to be back and forth. But man, I tell you, like I said, I didn't realize how much of a struggle it was till I got out and look back and just think, man, it just didn't seem like much was appreciated. And I know you probably feel that way too, Jesse, at times where, you're trying to fight this. And I know we have our differences on the methods or whatever, but I think at our heart, we want the best for the people. And
and you made a good point earlier. And again, not talking about Director Brands as a person by any means, but I think that there's something to be said for, you've been inside this very particular organization, so its ins and outs, and where the levers are that you can pull to try to get things done. And that's a plausible enough thing. And I think maybe we do need a few people like that in government. But if the socialist is saying government should not be this like closed off tower that's insular and only looking at itself, right? Like government needs to be connected to the extent it exists for our libertarian friends, right? To the extent it exists, it should justify its existence by providing obvious value to everybody involved. Like I think that the onus should be on government. People should be suspicious and be like, prove to me that you're not wasting my tax dollars, and government should have to work extra hard to do that. And so when you have people who have a lot of experience inside the government, but not much experience outside, how do we know that they're even in touch with what has changed in the industry since they were last on the outside? I worked in Salesforce and have been out I quit my job when I won my primary, right? So I could focus full time. And I've been helping people kind of just on the side a couple hours a week. And I'm like, wow, things have changed a ton just in like 2 years, and I need to bone up on my skills or else I'm robbing them if I charge them money for my services, even though I've got like 13 certifications. So, I think that government in general gets way too full of itself when it just assumes like, no, we know what's right. And you come and you do things our way and we don't have anything to learn from the outside world. Like that's just always going to be self-destructive and then cause everybody to hate the government, and they'd be right. So even
so hey, you didn't want to bring up the floodplain here in Marshall, because that's another one that I've been on my horse about, because our people in Mars Hill, and we're blue collar people in there, and I really feel like there's no one that speaks for them. We don't, but thankfully we're getting more people to vote. I tell them, I said, if you don't vote, people don't care. The politicians, all we have is a vote. If we didn't have a vote, we'd be Venezuela. I mean, now I can't say that because Venezuela is different, but that used to be my saying. Lucy's heard me say it, and Brad has before. But it's just disheartening that these folks are paying. If you have a mortgage, you have to pay flood insurance. So these folks are hardworking people. We should be able to fix that flood plain. It's been screwed up since 2018. I've just harped on everybody that would listen. Congress, anybody that could work on this. And it's like, they just pat me on the head and say, oh, go sit down. And that is frustrating because I can fix these things. If anybody remembers the Kenny Warden house, that was $100,000 project to fix his house from getting flooded by the creek. I fixed it for $2,300. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of these politicians do not want me involved, because guess what? There's nothing at the trough if you fix something for a fair price. And these people line up, and Jesse, you've seen it. I know these data centers, people are getting their palms greased, and we got to have that money to run, because I can't run on my reputation.
Jesse, have you, I mean, they probably wouldn't, but have you gotten approached by any consultants or people associated with to like even try to?
So funny story about that. So when Google was trying to push that massive data center through Franklin Township, they accidentally sent an email directly to me and other counselors, as opposed to going through the council chief of staff. And that's how I learned that the council chief of staff was actively blocking me from having any conversations with developers, because they didn't think that I would like be in good faith and thought that I'd be trying to sabotage things, which I always operate in good faith. I also probably would try to sabotage things, but I would tell them up front that that's what I was doing.
Jesse, I got to tell you, after listening to you, I've got a lot of respect for you now that I've listened to you. You're not your average socialist. It seems like, the things that you're talking about are very similar to what I would talk about. If you're going to steal from somebody, make sure it's worth it for them. But then when you talked about, and not even being funny about that, but thinking about, you're working at Salesforce and having the certifications, you are a system-based thinker. So it sounds to me like you've got this vision and you keep trying to check mark boxes against it, and they're actively blocking you from trying to protect the very people who voted for you.
That's
pretty much it.
Libertarianism and socialism meeting in the middle.
Yeah,
it's just such
really,
a beautiful thing to behold.
Here comes the bride.
The dirty
People,
secret of libertarians is that they came from European leftists.
Right. Yeah.
So hey, Brad, you've been dominating the conversation so far. Why don't you jump in here? I know he's just like riding in the back seat.
No, you guys have been making some really good points. And again, there's more people from the left on tonight. I can kind of just sit back and not have to carry that, I don't have to carry that message. This is nice.
And you don't have Tiffany here to beat on you. So, hey, this is like vacation for you.
Yeah, this has actually been, it's kind of had the night off, I feel like.
You got some great posters back there, Brad.
Thank you. And actually, I was going to say, one of them is from a King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard. And you have the look of one of the guitar players.
Oh,
just if you look them up, you'll know which one I'm talking about because of the mustache. So
aye.
Yeah. But thank you. Yeah, they're both a fun bands. So
sick.
Right, is there a question in there somewhere, Brad? That was all cute and everything.
No. When you guys were talking about the having people who are doing the inspections and are doing the permits being knowledgeable. And not being appointees, it kind of is, to me, it's just reminiscent of not trying to put somebody like RFK Jr. in the Department of Human Health and Services, or, in that position. That seems like a poor choice of an appointee. So I just see a similarity of those. That's my one, observation, I guess. So continue amongst yourselves.
There's what I'm fighting for down in Washington County, the second poorest county here in Indiana. I'm on the Plan Commission now, which is great. So they can all, there's enough people on the Plan Commission, they can always, vote me down. But I'm fighting for something that probably Jesse would be on board with, which is tiny houses, which is allowing people to have structures and homes that they can actually afford. One of the biggest scams that I see outside of property taxes, which is probably number one scam, is the idea that there has to be some sort of minimum home, 500 square feet, 750 square feet, that it has to be permanently affixed. But yet if the average, young person, I'm looking at Gen Alpha, I've got a kid that's Gen Alpha, I've got kids that are Gen Z and millennials, because I got 10 of them, they span, almost 30 years.
7 generations.
Yeah, really. I mean, it is a real problem for this age group to be able to afford to buy a home. And then your entry-level home, right? It's $30,000 or $300,000. And I grew up in Indianapolis. I went to Broad High School. I graduated from Northwest High School. It's just a tragedy, because now you got 30 to 50% of a dual income family just to afford the shelter. And what a lot of people don't speak about enough, in my opinion, is the idea that you are a slave to the bank, that the reason that these high entry points and mortgages exist is to make sure that people are occupied with 30 to 50% of their working hours just to keep the banks rich. And if people instead could take one of those, little $50,000 infill lots, and I can't even say $50,000 without but they could take one of those infill lots in the city and they could build, 200 square feet down, 150 square feet up. It would be great for their family. And yet they would then not need a mortgage and be a slave to the bank. And those kinds of opportunities are taken away from them. I'm fighting for tiny houses down here. And even down here, they don't want people to have tiny houses.
But Lucy, not even tiny houses, but the size of houses, if you look at from 1950, what a typical home size was, even if people had that again, that would be welcome.
Eagledale, we had a 3-bedroom. It was like 800 or 900 square feet. And, it was great.
Yeah, but Lucy, the problem is that the permit's going to cost more than the house. I'm joking. You think I'm joking, but when I was talking to them, they were talking about a mini barn in the backyard that you could build for $600, and the permit to get the mini barn was $800. I jokingly say that, but that was the truth. Now they did sort of fix that, but this is the problem. We're basically outrunning our coverage with the haves and the have-nots. And I've been very fortunate. I've worked my tail off for 35 years to save up some money to be able to be where I'm at now. But I would not be able to do that these days. You put student debt on top of a mortgage, and you can't do it. You can't get there. You have to make $100 an hour, or you have to make 200,000.
Most people don't know that student loan debt is dischargeable in bankruptcy, especially if it's a private loan. So make sure you go on YouTube and listen to some real bankruptcy attorneys who know what's going on, because in a lot more instances than you would even imagine, student loan bankruptcy or student loan debts are dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Now you tell me. I've already paid off 3 of them.
I've got a French degree. I don't know anything more worthless than that.
Hey, we don't want to have any F-bombs on here, and you're French and all that. So
I had a good conversation this weekend actually at the Mass Ave Next.
Cool.
They held an event. Jeffrey Tompkins and I don't know if you've seen him around. He's pretty active on Twitter, but he's a local Indy guy in Fountain Square now. He runs I think architecture firm, planning firm, whatever. He's partnering, I think, with the city to help with like kind of the next vision for Mass Ave. And basically they were getting community engagement on like kind of what maybe people would want to see. They had like huge map of Mass Ave and people could put sticky notes, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, they're working with the city to help plan it this year. But he was telling me, in line with everything that you're saying here, John, is that local businesses, especially small businesses, are just completely encumbered with permitting and adding, sprinklers to everything, making sure everything's fire safe. He was telling me that, a small dilapidated building on Indy's east side would cost $2+ million just to rehab, because you got to make everything up to code with sprinklers run throughout. And he's like, I don't think a small 1-story bookstore would need sprinklers. So anyway,
there are solutions for this, but people don't want to talk about them because we have this planned obsolescence, and the planned obsolescence used to be, appliances. I think my mom's, avocado green, washer is still working. But there was real pride of craftsmanship in the 1800s and 1900s. But maybe it was the Rockefellers, maybe it was the Rothschilds, maybe it was, Henry Ford, who knows? But that idea of planned obsolescence comes in. So where I'm looking to build a monolithic dome I sell plants, by the way, Jesse. I sell edible, medicinal, and culinary plants. I have a nursery business, and I'm putting alternative experimental type housing up so that people can come tour it and understand it. So we're going to be doing a monolithic dome this summer, and it's a concrete shell. And if you don't put any wood in there, if you put in, metal 2x4s for the framing, there's really not much to burn. So this is not a popular idea in the cities, and they'll say that it's ugly or whatever. But, if a fire came through the east side, and I used to live near Brookside Park, if you had all these concrete shells, not only would they be tornado proof, but they'd be fireproof. But that doesn't get the contractors back in there, and it doesn't.
The trough is empty.
Doesn't keep
what
that
you're trying to say. The trough is empty. The Eskimos do that kind of housing. They call it an igloo. So it's basically the same thing, just not snow. All right. So let's see. I wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about next? Let's see. Oh, Jesse, your political future. You got a couple more years left, but man, who's going to run for the mayor here in Indianapolis? I mean, the GOP is basically DOA. When they didn't vote me in as chair, that was their death. That was their death wish. Because I know Vinny's up there getting ready to do some cartwheels and stuff, but yeah.
I wish any more John is all I need.
Well, it's I had somebody today when I was talking to him about, I know what I want. This is in line with spending, Jesse. So I was I'm bidding some masonry work, and Avon, by gosh, needs the new pickleball court. Avon must have a new pickleball court. Now they have to have a restroom. Just listen to me, Brad. You're going to love this part. This pickleball court has to have a restroom. Okay, now this restroom, it just can't be some portalets out there. This thing's got to be the Taj Mahal. I'm looking at this bid. It's got Cordova stone, which is one of the most expensive things. It's got ground face block that are about $25 a piece. It's got It's unbelievable. It's about a $250,000 bathroom. I mean, literally a bathroom. And I'm thinking, and they just put this plan out there, the Avon, and I don't know if they think that's good, if that's bad, or whatever. But I do a lot of value engineering on projects, and that's basically a way to make it cheaper but still look nice. That's the jargon we use to make it look like we know what we're doing.
Wait,
I could build that for.
Does pickleball induce bowel movements or something like that?
I don't know,
That's
but
what
you
I've
don't
heard.
want pee. You don't want anybody peeing on the court. I mean, you eat enough pickles, you're going to go. You eat enough pickles, you're going to go. So, to me, it's like, okay, so we could build this project. Let's say it's 250 there. It could be a fifth of that. But again, people can't. And as a contractor, I should just shut up, because if I was to value engineer that, no, seriously, because I would only make about 10K on that. But as it is, I'll make 30K on the same, just using different materials. I have the same labor costs. I just want to have the profit because I can't add my percentage on top of the percentage. So I see you nod your head, and you got to be careful, Jesse, because these are the power brokers. These are the people that'll come for you in the night, and they will have a backhoe and they will dig a deep hole, because you never find, people don't get caught when they put you in a deep hole. A backhoe will dig 17 feet. You always get the shallow grave. They always find you. You never hear on the news, oh, we found him in a deep grave today. So that's what I'm talking about, how they do this stuff. But so how do you see projects that the city does that you don't have a tremendous construction background, but you do work on systems and you do know the difference between what looks right and what doesn't look right? How many projects come through that you look at and go, man, this is just, we're soaking people on this one, and what's up with it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so, okay, again, I will maybe get in trouble with some of my socialist friends for saying this, but I think that there are good things that market forces can do. And some of that is competitive bids, and some of that is being able to hold people accountable and just not do business with somebody who does shoddy work, right? Mm-hmm. But if the people using the end product are not the same people approving the bids, and the people who approve the bids look at political donations and just look at the fact that, oh my gosh, wow, you gave $500,000 to, you don't
have to mention Diego Morales in this, and
it's a bipartisan affair, right?
We're equal opportunity finder outers here, is what it is. So, but
100%. So yeah, I mean, like Brookside Park in my district, they're still working on playgrounds, and it's been at this point, I think, 27 months since they tore out the old ones. 27 months to replace playgrounds. Like, there's no universe, so last Salesforce job I had, we had outsourced tech people who would work on our systems and stuff from Ukraine. And so they lived mostly on the west side of Ukraine, so it wasn't directly in the line of fire, but they would occasionally be like, oh yeah, we had to go into the air shelters last night because we got shelled or drone attacks or something. Here's where a missile hit the middle of our street. And they're like, oh my God, Jesse, we're so embarrassed. We're such a third world country. It took us like a week and a half to repair that missile damage, so for a week and a half, our streets were too bad to be used. And I was like, we've never been hit by a missile in the history of time in this city, and yet you can't drive on our streets.
But it looks like it, and it took 5 years to do the 30th Street Bridge. So,
yeah, it's just like there's no explanation for richest country that's ever existed on the face of the earth to not be able to get these simple projects done. And somebody should get fired. I'll be the first one to say it. You're the contractor who got that bid. 27 months later, the playgrounds aren't in. All the money should be returned, and somebody should be fired for that.
Yep. Okay. On that note, what'd you do with your $1 million you got?
So I wanted to make it as democratic as possible, and I'll be the first to say it wasn't as democratic as it could have been, because a couple hundred people voted, and I represent 36,000 people. So that is not a representative vote, but it's the people I reached out with.
It's a large sample.
Who came out or who subscribed to my emails and responded, or came to community meetings I set up. What we ended up doing is something not super sexy, but it was sidewalks. It was sidewalks and drainage in a couple neighborhoods in my district that are historically Black, that were near the I-70. Talk about the government stealing property value from people, routed right through people's neighborhoods, trashed their property values, and then the city also didn't keep up on infrastructure. So there was one older guy, Dwayne Giles, if he's listening. I know he's not. He wouldn't listen to the show, but he'd probably enjoy it. He was a USMC veteran who still lives in this neighborhood. He's one of like 3 black families left in this neighborhood. It's near the Monon Trail, so it's gentrifying super quickly. And what the city's done is asked new developers who build a new house there to replace the sidewalks only in front of that house one at a time. But so the end result of that is you could literally walk down the street and be like, let's play guess where there's a 30-year-old tech white couple or a 70-year-old black person. And you'll guess it right 100% of the time, because every place where a black person who's been there for decades still lives, they have crappy infrastructure, and all of their neighbors have nice, new, shiny infrastructure. So thankfully, both the original residents, like the few remaining black families, and the new residents were like, hey, I think this would be the just thing to do. This is where I think we should spend $1 million. So
oh, you mean you didn't pave the road from your job to your house like somebody we all know? You didn't do that?
Laughed so hard at those articles. There was one.
Wait, who did that? I'm being serious. I don't know.
Indy's got a bunch of Indy Star. There's a few different articles about it.
Yeah, there's
okay. So there's this whole mid states project, Brad, to like go right to where 231 already is, and go very close to Jasper, so that a certain governor who has interest in freight and logistics can have, a faster commute, basically. I mean, the helicopter was not.
I was going to say, this is the one with the helicopter, right?
We're still waiting on.
But I want to take a step back, because this goes back to the RDA, the regional development areas, and it goes back to READY grants that were started by Holcomb because of the COVID money. So I actually sent a whole bunch of emails yesterday about the Mid-States project. And as I was researching it, I was finding very weak press releases back from 2021 saying, oh, people are going to have, a 10-minute less commute. They're going to be able to get to these places faster. And over 20 years, we're going to save $20 million in like gas costs for commuters. I'm like, who is this weak? I'm sorry. Who wrote such a poor persuasive piece as a press release? I mean, it was just ridiculous. But we're experiencing some of that too with the READY grants down in Southern Indiana. There's like 17 different areas in the RDA? And I'm like south. So this is just another government boondoggle. And I was like trying to channel my inner Andrew Horning, and I was looking all throughout the Indiana Constitution and the federal Constitution, and I could not find authority for any of these things.
No, they just, nobody says anything. They've done it like this for years. It's a good old boys network. Now, I want to just throw this wild card out there. So Governor Braun has said to me several times that you just want to come down on a Friday, we'll give you a tour of the Jasper. You're welcome anytime. I think I should take this entire crew right here and head on down to Jasper and get it set up. And I think that would be fun. We could even go over to Merkley's Market. They have excellent meat down there. I mean, there's, he might even let us play a round of golf at Sultan's Run. I don't know. But
I'll tell you what, I am there, John. I literally leave my property, turn right, drive for 1 hour, and I'm in Jasper.
Wow.
It's even on State Road 150, which is
get a helicopter and just make use of the helipad that our taxes paid for, right?
And Jasper's so bright and shiny. The property values are good there, and
those are good German folk down there in the Jasper. They make that engine, the motor, whatever, the Jasper. They actually have a lot of industry down there. It's a good little town. But the same thing is, I've put in the request for an interview to Braun in person in his office, written down twice. And I've not gotten any response from that. I have Josh Kelly's text, I have his phone number right here on my little phone. I've texted him about meeting with the governor. And you know what? I just really feel like I've been, ignored. I don't know if I can take a hint or not, but it's just sad. They just do what they're going to do, and they just act like they're trying to help you. And it's not helping them. It's they're lining up at the trough, and these people feed on government screw ups, whatever. And what do we get? Potholes and boondoggle projects. They're trying to steal the water out of Eagle Creek to go to Lebanon. And that mayor up there, Matt Gentry? Is that the mayor?
Yep.
I got into it with him about it. And like, okay, you're going to steal the water out of Eagle Creek. Good luck, because I'm going to be up there fighting for that one. But it looks like Pike's going to possibly shut them down. But anyway, these are things the government needs to get out of business. Would you not agree, Vinny, and anybody? They just need to get out of the business?
I got a good one. Some recent. I looked into the statewide financial report that goes on every year. It kind of gives like the state's expenditures and revenues line by line. And the state, I have it up on one of my websites, but over the course of, I think it was like 4 or 5 years, I think we were spending $50 to $100 million on horse racing, on supporting the thoroughbred horse racing industry up in Northwest Indiana, I think. I mean, I'm not joking, $100 million or more. I mean, it was.
Hey, horses have got to eat, man. Those horses don't eat
well,
eggs.
people need
the
to
line
gamble,
items are crazy.
you know?
It's just like thoroughbred horse racing. It's what it says. It's like thoroughbred horse racing 2024, $8 million. It's like,
Yeah, they got some
are we
good
talking
lobbyists.
about?
It comes down to lobbyists.
People need
So-
to gamble though on stuff. You know, win, place, or show. Like you gotta
do it. You got to do it.
It
All
was
right,
Similarly, though, it's like
All right,
less
so-
egregious. But SB won last year, SEA won, right? So made a bunch of waves, didn't make anybody happy, right? Because it didn't do the property tax revamp that everybody was looking for. I was sitting in those committee rooms for hours and hours, just paying attention, acting like they would listen to what we had to say, right? But there was one guy who I found really interesting, who was from Lake County, who had just I got like actuarial tables and just looking through all the numbers on everything when he was talking about property taxes, and he's like, this is odd. Because everybody else, any homeowner can tell you how much property taxes have gone up because of assessed values going up, right? Over the last 10 years, especially. U.S. Steel, their assessed property value had not gone up at all in over 5 years, he said. And so he's like, you have the 1%, 2%, 3% circuit breaker, but when you've got businesses who just are greasing enough wheels that no one's going to dare assess them as being worth more, which they
In my
obviously are worth more.
county, my county, the auditor and her friends and family members, which I think is who's responsible for making those calls, hers haven't gone up, and she's no longer eligible to run because she's had too many, consecutives. But the kind of fraud that we're fighting down here in Washington County, I'm sure is small compared to Indianapolis. We have
But percentage-wise,
29,000 people here in the whole county, 515 square miles, probably
Sure.
more cows than people. So, we're like a side neighborhood of Indianapolis. But the fraud here is astounding. We have a local developer who's doing a BOT, build, operate, transfer. And it was supposed to be a 360-foot long bin, for like the salt and the trucks and everything. And he only built it 285. And there's multiple things he's done on this project, which are crazy. Crazy as in, how did he shave all this off and he's getting away with it? So we're hoping that he won't get away with it. The project started out 8.5 acres, but now it's 7.5. And coincidentally, one of his buddies, who's a county commissioner, was really strong on changing our subdivision plan so that you could do 1 acre instead of a 2-acre minimum. So now, he shaved off an acre. Well, hey, he's good to go. But the most egregious fraud on this so far is claiming to be over $400,000 over budget on the project. And then just having we have 2 commissioners that are just, in my mind, looking at it, and this is completely my opinion, I don't want to defame them and everything, but just from the outside looking in, it seems very fraudulent. So they said, you know what, we've got this 19.5 acres next to our municipal airport, and it's worth about $400,000. So let's just give it to the developer so that he'll erase the $400,000, as in trade for this overage. And of course, once I say municipal airport, about the ready grants that go along with that. So now he's going to get paid, by these grants to build something on this 19.5 acres. And then he's going to sell it back to us as a bought grant. I mean, and this is just Washington County. Like, I can't even imagine the fraud in Indianapolis.
Oh,
The trough is deep, the trough is wide, and they line up to the trough. And you think about the government workers, and not to put them down, but it is a lot of that. So, hey, let's do this. I'm going to do a screen share with the State of the Union here and see if we can't see where we're at on things. Let's see. Let's see if we can get some cooperation here with the internet.
About that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today, and 100% of all jobs created
whatever
under my
that was a
administration
lie.
have been in the
100%.
private sector.
Just
Yeah, so
when you
I
do
don't see a
0
lot of
or
empty
100,
seats. I don't see a lot. Vinny's
We
a lot.
ended DEI in America.
Uh-oh. Well, I thought all the Democrats were going to be walking out of this thing.
This kind of reminds me of Catholic Church and the
We've
genuflect
got a
and
record
like
number
Oh,
of
yeah.
killing
what is
regulations, and
Trump?
in 1
The
year, we
GOP
have
Pope?
lifted 2.4 million Americans a record off of food stamps.
Million. Yeah, because they kicked them off. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
lifted.
enough of that. That is enough of that.
Spiro,
hold on.
Spiro's comment. Stand up and clap, Brad. I'm not gonna stand up and clap for that.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Oh, and John, I sent you something in Messenger. Just as a heads up, I'm doing a baseball podcast with Jerry Lopez for the World Baseball Classic coming up.
Okay. You're going to do it on, what are you doing on? Which networks? I mean, you're doing it on StreamYard.
Yeah.
You're going to put it on Mouthwash? Which one?
Yeah, I got to make a channel or something too, I think. So
okay, well, that's okay. You can still, use the Mouthwash stuff and all that, and use it. That's what we're doing. So Jesse, we're making progress here. I got Witty on at 8. Our show Mouthwash. Brad does 7:30. Hey, the Jesse Brown show. I mean, or the Vinny show. I mean, just saying. But you'll be on your own.
The Jesse Brown show already, maybe more than I want, but
yeah, they need about 10 more of you. Or actually, if you had about 15, no, what's more, 13 of you, you'd be able to move the needle. But right now, you're swimming upstream, my brother, swimming up the stream. You got friends like Vinny here that are helping you, but and I think you're getting some stuff together there. And I think the more you explain your type of people want to have a label and they want to put a little label on it and they want to make it this and that. But in the end, we got to help each other out, because right now we're just beating the snot out of each other. Either Orange Man bad or I love the Orange Man. It's there's no in betweens right now. So, I
think we did a good job as the state though of like not redistricting. I think that was a good.
What's that say there, Jesse?
No data center here.
Yeah, because the Mouthwash show's doing just fine. I don't need any more data. So I just need enough to keep our show going. So, Hey, I'm going to keep this to an hour. Lucy, no conspiracy tonight. I did already the one conspiracy. That's it. That's all you get. Sorry. But next week, we are going to talk about, this is going to be just a nail biter next week. We're going to talk about elder abuse and why there aren't cameras in nursing homes. So,
oh God. Okay.
I know that sounds like a parody, doesn't it? But no, that's true. But Jesse, Vinny, I appreciate you guys coming on. I think this was a great conversation about city stuff. And if you have, you're welcome anytime to come on. And if you run for mayor, I got some plans that you probably could get elected or executed. One of the two.
It's the same thing.
So everybody, thanks. And I actually got a special, Vinny. I even put you in the credits here. Because I'm down here retired in Florida. I play golf Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do the group rides on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and I fish in between. I mean, it's a vigorous schedule, but I do have time to edit stuff. So let's see here.
And you made time for me. It's amazing.
You guys are the best. Hey, stick around after. I always forget to say that. But stick around after so Brad can do his Irish goodbye and all that, and we'll wind up the show. But hey, thanks guys for coming on. It's been excellent. And we had almost 40 viewers when Witty said we'd have nobody watching because of the State of the Union. Well, you guys brought a good crowd. Appreciate it.
We're like the Kid Rock halftime show.